Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? Great. Well, welcome to Alumni Weekend 2023. I am Molly Morton Bradney, class of 2008, chair of the Alumni Association Board of Governors, and I am pleased to welcome you here today. At this time, I would like to invite Reverend Ellen Alston, class of 1982, chaplain of the college, to come forward and give the invocation.
Good morning. Will you join me as we focus our hearts and minds? O source of life and love, this day has been a long time in the making. Not only to be able to finally gather face to face, but also because the exemplary living we celebrate with these awards did not happen overnight, but through persistence of compassion, vision, and service over time. As we share this meal together and lift up these beloved honorees, may we be open to and grateful for the many ways our lives are nurtured in body, mind, and spirit, both at Hendricks and beyond. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Alston. And with that, I'm going to say everyone got their plate, so please continue eating during this. So don't hesitate to pick up your fork and take a bite as we walk through our presentation. So I know food is important here at Hendricks. So speaking for the Board of Governors, this day is one we look forward to each year. For as we recognize our classmates and others who have distinguished themselves through their professions and their service, we take great pride in their accomplishments. And we are honored to count them as members of the Hendricks family. Please join me in expressing appreciation to Dawn Hearn, Chef Brian Cottle, Andrea Hawkins, and the entire dining services staff for our brunch. We would like to recognize members of the retired, former, current, and emeritus faculty members who are here. Will you please stand? We would also like to, the Alumni Award Recipients who are here with us today, the past Alumni Award Recipients who are here with us today, to please stand and let us recognize you as well. Just a couple more. We love thanking everyone. Will current and former Alumni Association Board of Governors please stand? Last but certainly not least, will current and former Board of Trustees please stand? Well, thank you all. At this time, it is my privilege to introduce the 12th president of Hendricks College, Ellis Arnold. Ellis is a, yeah. Hey, let's clap once and we'll get. As you all may be aware, Ellis is a member of the class of 1979, and he has served Hendricks for more than 20 years. Ellis became president in 2019, exactly 50 years after the last Hendricks alumnus, Marshall T. Steele, class of 1927, stepped from serving as president in 1969. Ellis, come on forward.
Thanks, Molly. Thank you, Molly. And a few words of appreciation. First, I want to thank Dawn and everyone in the dining services once again for all they do for us this weekend and throughout the year. They make Hendricks a really special place and feel like it's home to all of our faculty, staff, and students. So thanks, Dawn, everybody. We kicked off Alumni Weekend yesterday with the Half Century Club banquet and inducted the class of 1973 in this very room. And it was standing room only. It was absolutely packed all the way to the walls on both sides and all the way to the front. Largest class we've ever had, and it was a really special event, and our dining services and everyone did a wonderful job. I do want to thank Pamela Owen and Jamie Brainerd in the alumni office, because they're the ones that do all the magic behind the scenes to make all this happen. They've done a tremendous job with just the two of them to pull off this entire weekend and to make you all feel as welcome and special as possible. So special thanks to Pamela and Jamie for all they did. And there's Jamie back there. I want to recognize and congratulate Anna and Brad, and especially Jim Wiltgen and Rock for your awards today. This is always a very special day for us to recognize the accomplishments of folks who have made so many contributions to not only this college, but higher education and the world at large. And so congratulations to each of you for that. You know, for some of you that are here today, this may be the first time that you've been on campus in quite a long time. For others of you, you may have come back home to Hendricks more frequently. But as you stroll campus this weekend, and I hope that you will do that and take time to stroll the campus, that you may wonder what happened to some of the buildings that you remember. Grove Gym. What happened to Grove Gym? Yesterday, we conducted the class of 73, and Grove Gym was a brand new building for them when they enrolled in the fall of '69. But this building, the Student Life and Technology Center, sits on the footprint of Grove Gym. Others may say, what happened to Hewlin Hall? Well, I would encourage you to go upstairs if you haven't had the chance to do that before and check out our award-winning dining services, but particularly check out the room in which our students now dine each and every day, where the cathedral ceiling in the dining hall is reminiscent and of that ceiling that you would see, the cathedral ceiling in Green Chapel. So we've tried to continue the legacy in many ways. Well, and so, you know, you must visit, let me suggest that you visit, if you have a chance this weekend, the Miller Creative Quad, which is directly to the west of us as you go out the front doors. That, in fact, was where Hewlin Hall once stood. Miller Creative Quad now contains the spaces for our music department. It has a film studies auditorium. It contains the area for our fabulous Wingate Museum and also student housing on the upper levels of that building. It's an absolutely incredible facility, so I encourage you to see that. I would also point your attention to the south end of that building, the south wing, which houses the music department, and you'll see these tiles that run up and down the side to the building. And those tiles actually came from the roof of Hewlin Hall. We wanted to keep the spirit of Hewlin alive there at that particular site. So we're excited about that. The campus has truly been transformed over the last 15 years with the benefit of 2 separate fundraising campaigns, which raised a total of over $250 million in gifts. But despite the physical changes that have happened at campus, our mission has remained the same. It's been constant. And today's students are having the same life-changing experiences that those did in the 50s and 60s and 70s. And finally, I want to close by finally saying that I want you to know that Hendricks didn't merely survive COVID these last few years, but we've made tremendous progress. While many institutions were treading water and simply trying to survive, we were bold and innovative, knowing that we could improve the trajectory of the college in the midst of a pandemic. During these last few years, we have positioned ourselves to succeed in an incredibly competitive environment. In the midst of COVID, we successfully launched a tuition reset, lowering the sticker price of tuition by 32%, demonstrating our commitment to access and affordability. We created the Hendricks 5 program for students whose lives were disrupted by COVID, providing a pathway for them to attend Hendricks for a 5th year if that's what they needed. We received a record number of applications in each of the last 2 years for admission, demonstrating the interest in Hendricks has been at an all-time high. And we reached our campaign goal of $110 million, a year ahead of schedule during the pandemic. But instead of ending and celebrating that campaign and pausing, we relaunched and expanded that campaign to a new goal of $150 million as we relaunched the campaign, and we raised an additional $40 million in less than 2 years, meeting that goal a year ahead of schedule as well. We developed a multi-year compensation plan for our faculty and staff and secured major funding to support that plan. And as we work to more fully incorporate career competencies throughout our curriculum, we piloted a new program last summer called Life Launch, a career exploration program for rising high school juniors and seniors, to further demonstrating our commitment to helping students connect the dots from their passion to their vocation and positioning Hendricks as a national leader in that area. None of this would have been possible without the dedication and support of a committed faculty and staff and the incredible support of alumni and friends, both in this room and around the country. So as I prepared for my retirement from Hendricks in about 6 weeks, I want to express my deep gratitude to everyone in this room and those that have been here all weekend and those around the country who have believed in what our mission is and helped us to be successful during some of the most trying times in the history of higher education. Thank you for all that you've done for the college. Today we celebrate the accomplishments of distinguished individuals, alums, and friends of this institution, and we're reminded that the success of Hendricks is not measured by the level or size of the campaigns or the buildings that we build on this campus, but the lives of accomplishment of people who walked this campus, who graduated from this college, and who have contributed in many ways in service to Hendricks. And today we celebrate those individuals. So congratulations to each of our recipients, and welcome to Campus for Alumni Weekend.
Thank you, Ellis. We appreciate your update and we appreciate your service to our alma mater. Now we present the awards. The Alumni Association has presented the James E. Major Service Award since 1981. It was established to honor Dr. James Major, class of 1940. Hendricks' first Vice President of Development and is given for meritorious service to the college. The James E. Major Service Award is presented by the Hendricks College Alumni Association to individuals who offer distinguished service to the college and its students over a long period of time. Past recipients include current and former members of the Hendricks staff, as well as persons whose volunteer service significantly enhanced the experience of Hendricks students. The Hendricks College Alumni Association is pleased to recognize Jim Wiltgen as the 2023 recipient of the James E. Major Service Award. Yeah. Mr. Wiltgen, will you please come forward? Jim, it is with my great pleasure to share the following citation recognizing achievements and dedication that have earned you this honor. Whereas Jim Wiltgen earned a Bachelor of Arts degree from Loras College in 1985 and a master's degree in higher education administration from Arizona State University in 1995, and whereas Jim Wiltgen began his higher education career serving in residence life and student affairs roles at the Maine Maritime Academy, Arizona State University, Bucknell University, and Gettysburg College. And whereas Jim Wiltgen served as Dean of Students at Hendrix from 2008 to 2022, and in 2012 took on additional responsibilities as the Vice President of Student Affairs. And whereas Jim Wiltgen consistently focused on enhancing the Hendrix student experience for nearly 15 years, overseeing student housing expansion with the addition of the Hendrix Corner, the Village Apartments, Market Street South, the Creative Quad, and Huntington facilities, the remodeling of Martin and Vesey Halls, the creation of the SOS office and the SOAR Peer Mentor Program, and co-creating the Red Brick Film Festival, which he emceed for many years. And whereas Jim Wiltgen led civil rights trips to Alabama for more than 10 years, served as co-advisor on 2 Miller Center trips, and served as trip advisor for 14 orientation trips, partnered with psychology professor Dr. Lindsay Kennedy to create the Wellbeing Living Learning Program in the Market Square South over the past 3 years. And whereas Jim Wiltgen loves serving as advisor to Student Senate and worked to engage students at every turn, hosting the Dean's Poker Cup for more than 10 years, working with the chaplain's office to present Cookie Day during final exams, and introducing countless other small events and activities. And whereas Jim Wiltgen and his wife Suzanne now reside in Memphis, Tennessee, and are proud parents of John, a 2020 Hendrix graduate, and Elena and Claudia, who are currently in college. Therefore, the Hendrix College Alumni Association Board of Governors is proud to bestow the 2023 James E. Major Service Award to Jim Wiltgen and to hold him up to the Hendrix community and to the world as an exemplar of the values of Hendrix College.
Yeah. So Pamela told me I had 24 minutes to talk today. And then when I called her back, she said 2 to 4 minutes to talk today. I was like, wow, I have to drastically cut my speech. Just a couple of marks. President Arnold, distinguished guests, and amazing alumni. As I reflect on my time at Hendrix, I realize just how special this place is and how lucky I was to be able to share those experiences with my friends here for over 14 years. There are so many people to thank, but I'll try to make this brief. In particular, I want to thank my siblings, Patty and Dan, who came in all the way, and also my brother-in-law, Goose, who's here with them, too. Jim is his real name, but we all call him Goose, sorry. But to come here to be a part of that, it's really important. And I think about my family. I was the oldest of 9. It's my first residence hall. I was an RA of that group. I'm honored and humbled to receive this award, but I know this award would not be possible without the love and support of my family, my colleagues, and our students at Hendrix. In particular, I must thank my wife, Suzanne, and our kids, John, Elena, and Claudia. There are many times when my work at Hendrix kept me from being with them, and I tried to integrate my family as much as I could into the Hendrix experience, and they often got called in for extra duties when we were hosting students at our home or prepping for an event, but they never wavered in their support. John even dared to stare down the dragon and came to school where his dad was the dean, and he graduated in 2020. And on occasion, I would get an unsolicited note from him when things were rough or students were unrestful or whatever. But anyway, he would tell me that I was doing a good job, and boy, did that mean a lot, John. I also must thank my colleagues in Student Affairs. I thank Carla Carney Hall, who hired me to come here and made this all possible. She's an amazing mentor and friend. I also want to thank Deanne Hewitt, who's here today, my right-hand person, right beside me through all of our troubles and solving all the problems. So having her at every day on this adventure. And I also want to thank the many hardworking friends in Student Affairs who made even the toughest or longest days bearable. I thank them for their patience with me, their devotion to our students, and their sense of humor. I also want to thank the numerous campus partners I had the honor of working beside all these years, from dining facilities to IT to security, and of course the amazing faculty of this institution. And I was really lucky to have continual support from Ellis and the senior leadership team, which was really special. Lastly, I thank the students for my time here. It's hard to keep track of the timeline of those interactions, given that I went through almost 4 sets of graduates over the time. It's truly an honor to be the Dean of Students and to share the many experiences together. Orientation trips, shirt tails, ghost roast, red brick, Miss Hendricks, formal, student government, toga, Dean's Poker Cup, Dean's Civil Rights trips, Miller trips, cookie days. Just amazing memories. Leaving here is perhaps one of the hardest things I've done in my life, and Ellis knows that I'd have to work at least 2 movie quotes into this speech, so here we go. The one key line I remember is from the movie Ghost, where Patrick Swayze's character reassures his partner that the love comes with you. And it does come with you. Hendricks' love remains. At the wedding of a pair of alums this past weekend, I admitted to several that after all those years, I'm finally forced to do what all those graduates have done for years, to take my Hendricks experiences with me on life's journey, to write my new story and try to make a difference in the world. And although I've been fortunate to be associated with many colleges, I realize that Hendricks is indeed a special place. To that end, I want to leave you with a quote from one of my all-time favorite movies. It's from a song in the movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And it's very simple. It says this: if you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do, do it. Want to change the world? There's nothing to it. Thank you for changing my world.
Thank you, Jim. The Alumni Association Board of Governors created the Hendricks Humanitarian Award to recognize and honor living alumni who significantly improve the quality of life in the world through their service and dedication to humanity. The Hendricks College Alumni Association is pleased to recognize Anna Patterson Strong as the 2023 recipient of the Hendricks Humanitarian Award. Anna, it is my great pleasure to share the following citation recognizing achievements and dedication that have earned you this honor. Whereas Anna Patterson Strong graduated from Hendricks College in 2004 with a Bachelor of Arts degree in mathematics and went on to earn a Master's of Public Service degree from the Clinton School of Public Service and a Master of Public Health degree from the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences College of Public Health. Whereas Anna Patterson Strong is the Executive Director of the Arkansas chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics, where she leads policy and advocacy initiatives impacting child health and pediatric care and engages pediatricians in statewide programs that promote child health and healthcare quality. Anna Patterson Strong previously served as Executive Director of Child Advocacy and Public Health at Arkansas Children's, where she led clinical and community health outreach initiatives reaching all 75 counties and convened the Natural Wonders Partnership Council, a coalition focused on improving child health. Whereas Anna Patterson Strong led Medicaid-related policy advocacy and contributed to Arkansas's successful 2013 effort to extend Medicaid to low-income adults and establish its health insurance marketplace as Director of Healthcare Policy at Arkansas Advocates for Children and Family. And whereas Anna Patterson Strong serves on the boards of the School-Based Health Alliance and Forward Arkansas. And whereas Anna Patterson Strong lives in Little Rock with her husband Aaron and their sons Isaac and Eli. Therefore, the Hendricks College Alumni Association Board of Governors is proud to bestow the 2023 Hendricks College Humanitarian Award to Anna Patterson Strong, Hendricks College alumna from the class of 2004, and to hold her up to the Hendricks community and to the world as an exemplar of the values of Hendricks College.
You know, I am not usually one who's short on words, but speaking in front of a group of Hendricks alumni is really intimidating, actually. I do want to start with saying thank you to Hendricks and to the Hendricks Alumni Association, and particularly to Anna Morchetti for putting my name in the hat for this. Was very surprised and completely humbled to receive this award today. I would also love to extend gratitude to my many friends and family members who have joined us today. Y'all may know that I am the third generation in my family to attend Hendricks. My parents met at Hendricks. My mom's parents went to Hendricks, and even have a great-grandmother who went to Galloway College, and so have a long history of Hendricks involvement. And I was dead set against coming to Hendricks when I was in high school because I just did not want to go to the place that my parents were like, obviously you should go here. But it is one of the best decisions that I made, and I am very, very happy to be able to stand up here and say thanks for this. I also want to extend a huge thanks to my husband, Aaron, who I met here, class of '03, who has his 20-year reunion tonight. When did we get so old? And Isaac and Eli, my sons, who are here and enjoying lots of wearing dressed-up clothes today. But without Aaron, I could not do what I do in my career. He provides endless support to our family. I know he's very glad that the 2023 legislative session is over. And I love my kids so much, and they really reinforce the work I do every day to help try to make the world a better place for kids in our state. To wrap up, I'm just going to share 3 quick lessons from Hendricks and the liberal arts education I received here that I have carried with me throughout my career. For those of y'all who don't know, I was a math major and a physics minor, and so this career path has had a little bit of winding in it, as the good ones do. But the first lesson I've really carried with me is that building bridges is incredibly important. And so whether that is building bridges between schools and healthcare to have, improve the access to care for kids in a school-based health center, or medical legal partnerships that help to address the legal needs impacting families that also impact their health, or integrating behavioral health into primary health care, which is a lot of what I'm working on right now. Learning to explore, to think about possibilities that may not exist right now, and think about ways to connect things that don't naturally fit together, but that can be better together than they are separately, is really something I learned from here, to stretch my limits. To be a student athlete, swim team was one of the greatest parts of being here at Hendricks. To be on Campus Kitty, to be able to write papers in my math classes. Those kinds of things were such an important part of building bridges, and I carry that with me every day in the work I do. Secondly, advocacy is really one big group project, and so in my career as an advocate, learning to work with people, a lot of that was grounded in what happened here. I think I saw Dr. McAinch over there, who was my WIT professor, Western Intellectual Traditions, which was the freshman class that we all took at Hendricks during my time here. Learning to hear from people from around the world who grew up with totally different experiences than I had grown up with was just such an important part, expanding my horizons beyond Searcy, Arkansas, where I grew up, and really developing some of the deep friendships that have carried me through life and still exist today. And then thirdly, finding common ground. Sometimes you just have to have a conversation with people to find common ground. And so much of that, the ability to talk to people, I was talking with Aaron on the way down here this morning, or up here this morning, and I said, so much of my work, we had this great bill that we passed this past legislative session on helping to make sure high quality pediatric care exists in more parts of Arkansas. The person that carried that bill also had a bill that we really didn't like that was about 14-year-olds driving ATVs on highways. And so, thinking about that, being able to say, we find common ground here, we don't have it here, and that is okay, is, I think, just such a really important part of our work in carrying forward things that make a difference in this world. Because at the end of the day, real people are on the other side of the policy decisions we make, and their lives depend on our ability to communicate, to sit down and find some spaces and places where we can work together. And to see that there are real people behind the political partisanship and the discord that exists in our world today. And I'll wrap up just to say that I have had on my wall in my office for many years a quote from Bill Clinton, who, I went to the Clinton School, and it said, we should enjoy and celebrate our differences, but our common humanity matters more. And I think that's really been the foundation of things I learned here at Hendricks and that have carried me forward through my career. So thank you all so much for this honor. It means so much to me, and I can't wait to hear from the rest of the recipients too. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Anna. So in 2007, the Alumni Association Board of Governors created an award to recognize the accomplishments and promise of the college's young alumni. The Outstanding Young Alumnus or Alumna Award is presented to an alumnus or alumna of Hendrix College who has shown accomplishment and promise in his or her chosen profession and in service to the broader community and has demonstrated continuing loyalty, support, and advocacy for the college. The recipient should be within 15 years of his or her graduation, give or take a few years due to the global pandemic. So today we would like to recognize Brad Howard, a member of the class of 2006, as the 2023 recipient of the award. Mr. Howard, would you please come forward? Brad, it is my great pleasure to share the following citation recognizing achievements and dedication that have earned you this honor. Whereas Brad Howard earned his Bachelor of Arts degree in politics from Hendrix College and his Master of Arts degree in public communication from American University in Washington, D.C. And whereas Brad Howard works as a principal at the Vogel Group, an international government affairs and consulting firm headquartered in Washington, D.C. And whereas Brad Howard has gained more than 15 years of experience in government and politics, most recently serving as Chief of Staff to U.S. Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy. And whereas Brad Howard served as spokesperson for New Orleans Mayor Mitch Landrieu and worked in the Obama administration and the Small Business Administration prior to joining Congresswoman Murphy's team. And whereas Brad Howard makes frequent appearances as a Democratic strategist on numerous national media outlets from Fox News Channel to Bloomberg and has been described by Politico as key power broker for House moderates. And whereas Brad Howard previously served as communications director for Congressman Mike Ross and the spokesperson for the Democratic Blue Dog Coalition, before moving back to Arkansas to help his former boss run for governor, and moving to Florida to run Stephanie Murphy's historic campaign that unseated a 24-year Republican incumbent. After 2 stints managing U.S. Senate races in Arkansas and Indiana, and the Hendrix College Alumni Association Board of Governors is proud to bestow the 2023 Outstanding Young Alumnus Award to Brad Howard, Hendrix College alumnus from the class of 2006, and to hold him up to the Hendrix community and to the world as an exemplar of the values of Hendrix College.
Well, thank you, Molly, and like a true politician, I'm going to say a few brief remarks before I start my actual remarks. Number one, it was funny to see a former dean of students speak so fondly of ghost roast and toga, which was not our experience when we were there. So I enjoyed that, and Molly, what's funny, her older sister, Margot, was a year ahead of me at Hendrix, and I had to quickly move to DC because I got an internship at the last minute, wasn't expecting, and found something online. Margot raced to the apartment in DC, looked at it, and says, "It looks good, grab it." And I took her judgment and moved into it without ever seeing it. So grateful to Molly and her sister there. And then Anna and I just found out about a month ago that the organization she's on the board for, the School-Based Health Alliance, actually is one of my clients in Washington at my firm. So that was really cool to discover a shared interest there. So, but I, of course, want to say thank you to the Alumni Board Association, Meg and Molly, I think, for nominating me, and I appreciate that honor. Most importantly, though, I want to thank my parents who are here today, my dad, Joe, and my mother, Tammy. Always believed in me, gave me the support I needed to get to Hendrix and through Hendrix, and always grateful for that. In particular, thanks to my dad for the many, many years of arguing politics. Has helped me dramatically on Fox News to be able to hold my own and do it with respect and grace. And so I'm just grateful for the confidence they gave me to succeed in a very, very tough industry. And I'm, of course, grateful to everyone at Hendrix, the staff, the faculty, my fellow students. I'm just some of the best friendships I've made in life have been at Hendricks. But in particular, there's one I want to recognize today, and that's Dr. Jay Barth, who was my academic advisor. And as people know, there's a running joke that you're a Democrat when you're young and you're a Republican when you get older. For anybody that knows me, I did it the reverse. I was a Republican at Hendricks and now a Democrat. I suspect Jay likes to take a little credit for that. But Jay is just one of those special people in the teaching profession. Just a great mentor all around. Appropriately questioned your beliefs, made you stand your own and defend them. But Jay gave me the best piece of advice I ever got. And as a young person coming up wanting to go into politics, I said, I'm on the pre-law track. And he goes, do you want to go to law school? And I said, no, do not want to go to law school. He goes, do you want to be a lawyer? And I said, no, I don't want to be a lawyer. He goes, trust me on this, you don't want to go to law school. And so thankfully gave me the guidance to another career path that wound up being much more affordable and taking much less time, and grateful for the advice. I also later found out a few years after I got my job with Congressman Mike Ross of Arkansas, that was because of Jay's reference that I landed that job with zero experience on the Hill and a former Republican. So that was a big leap from Congressman Mike Ross, who he couldn't be here today, he's under the weather, but eternally grateful for the congressman, his faith in me, and of course, Jay's there. When I looked into politics and the races I chose to work on, I always wanted to choose tough races. So I would always look at working for Democrats in red areas because I understand that dynamic, I think, particularly well. And so did that. Not a great strategy for notching campaign wins, though. So it was very, very difficult journey throughout, I came back to Arkansas, helped Mike run for governor. It was close. We only lost by 17 percentage points. But that was a tough cycle that year. Went down to New Orleans and kind of briefly worked on a few other Senate races in Arkansas, Indiana, great blue states. But wound up having an opportunity to work for the Hillary Clinton presidential campaign. And as I was debating that, ran into and got connected with a woman in Florida who lived just outside of Orlando, named Stephanie Murphy. She was 37 years old, had never run for anything in her life, but the Pulse shooting had just happened in her community. And as someone that has always struggled with my position on guns, coming from a conservative culture, I think Newtown dramatically changed my view on guns, but Parkland really hit home. And the attack on the LGBT community and just how awful that was at the time really made it personal for me. And so I turned down a job on the Hillary campaign, went to Orlando, Florida, and then in 4 months unseated a 24-year Republican incumbent running on LGBT equality and gun rights. And so I'll never forget election night after we won, which no one expected. Reporters weren't even at our event. They didn't think we were going to win. So like, wait, before you give your speech. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll wait, But the congresswoman-elect looks at me and goes, what do we do now that I've won? And I looked at her and said, I don't know, I've never won before. So she goes, well, you got me, and it's the same night that it looks like Trump's heading to the White House, and so we're just both like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And so she asked me to be her chief, and we had 6 amazing years together in Congress through a very tumultuous time in our politics, 2 impeachments and insurrection. But I look back at our legislative accomplishments, and one of the things we're most proud of, and this is under a Trump presidency, which I give him credit for. There was a congressman from Arkansas named Jay Dickey, who represents South Arkansas, who passed a measure, an appropriations measure that said you could not fund anything related to gun violence research, which was very frustrating because gun violence is not just a gun control issue, it's a public health crisis. And like any true public health crisis, you've got to have facts and figures. And what we learned in Pulse, the reason why only 49 people were killed is that the nightclub was 2 blocks from a stage 1 trauma hospital. And they walked their friends down, they put them in cars and dragged them down to the ER, and we had state-of-the-art surgeons. And our first State of the Union guest was one of those surgeons that operated on people. There is a science and a medical lessons to learn from not just handguns, but from the way AR-15s destroy bodies and how now little small community rural hospitals around the country have to prepare for battlefield injuries. That needs study, that needs response, it needs training, and we couldn't research it. Well, Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy and I, after the Parkland shooting in South Florida, the President Trump called a roundtable and we pressed aggressively. We were able to, in 2 years, lift the Dickey Amendment and allow, for the first time, federal funding for gun violence research, which is a start, and we got much more far to go, but at least we can operate from a place of facts and science. And so I think our time there, that was kind of our proudest accomplishment. But with the 4-seat majority we had last Congress, it's incredible what we were able to do with the Inflation Reduction Act, historic investments in climate change, another round of gun safety legislation, transportation bills, down the line with a 4-seat majority. My boss was chair of the House moderate Democrats called the Blue Dogs. So we had a tough road to navigate these very difficult bills. And I'm very proud of the accomplishments and the time we had together in doing that. I joke that Stephanie Murphy and I could not be more of an odd couple coming to Congress. Here is a very short Vietnamese woman. She's the first Vietnamese woman ever to serve in Congress. And here I am, a 6'5" Southern white guy, rolling into Congress. Capitol Police often mixed the two of us up. They thought I was the member and she was the staffer, and I very quickly corrected that a lot. But I think she had a strong desire. We both had a strong desire for public service. She, after 9/11, went back into the Pentagon and served as a national security specialist. I think we were both motivated by this desire to fix the country that we love so much. And it was awe-inspiring to work for an immigrant who fled socialism, fled Vietnam, came here as a baby, and her love of country often reminds us that immigrants that come to this country come here and have a deep, sincere appreciation that sometimes we as natives don't understand. So it was an incredible journey. I'm very grateful for that. Unfortunately, she decided to retire, so that forced me to get a job in the private sector for the first time ever, really. And now I get to lobby on a bunch of different issues and continue to work in Congress and politics. And so, I just want to thank Hendricks. I think when you leave here, gives you a confidence that I don't know any other graduates that leave with. And I'm just so grateful for the experience here, and I hope this special place continues to be special for our lifetimes. So thank you so much for this award.
Thanks, Brad. So, dating back to the first presentation in the 1920s, the Alumni Association has presented the Distinguished Alumnus or Alumna Award to living alumni who have distinguished his or herself in vocation, service to humanity, and service to the college. Today, after scheduling conflicts and a global pandemic, we are happy to recognize Rock Jones, a member of the class of 1980, as the 2020 Distinguished Alumnus. Dr. Jones, would you please come forward? Rock, it is my great pleasure to share the following citation recognizing achievements and dedication that have earned you this honor. Whereas Rock Jones graduated from Hendricks College in 1980 with a Bachelor of Arts with honors and received the first President's Medal, and went on to receive a Master of Divinity degree, graduating magna cum laude from the Duke University Divinity School, and a PhD in Educational Administration from the University of Texas of Austin. And whereas Rock Jones served as a United Methodist pastor in Pine Bluff and Norfolk, Arkansas, prior to his 13-year career at Hendricks, where he served in roles including Executive Vice President and Dean of Advancement, Vice President of Enrollment and Dean of Admission and Financial Aid, Interim Vice President for Student Affairs, and Chaplain. And whereas Rock Jones was named President of Ohio Wesleyan University in Delaware, Ohio in 2008, and received the 2014 Outstanding Performance as a College or University President Award from Region 4 East of the National Association of Student Personnel Administrators in recognition of his work to advance the quality of student life at Ohio Wesleyan. Whereas Rock Jones currently serves as President of the University Senate of the United Methodist Church, as member of Board of Governors of Wesley Theological Seminary, and as a member of the Advisory Board of the Global Liberal Arts Alliance, and he previously served as a president of the Great Lakes College Association and the North Coast Athletic Conference, and as a member of the Board of Directors of the Council of Higher Education Accreditation. And whereas Rock Jones will retire from the presidency of Ohio Wesleyan University in the summer of 2023 and return to Arkansas with his wife, Melissa Lawler Jones, class of 78, whom he met at Hendricks College. Therefore, the Hendrix College Alumni Association Board of Governors is proud to bestow the 2020 Distinguished Alumnus Award to Rock Jones, Ph.D., Hendrix College alumnus from the class of 1980, and to hold him up to the Hendrix community and to the world as an exemplar of the values of Hendrix College.
Wow. My heart is full, my cup runneth over. I want to thank the Alumni Association for this award. Melissa and I are so grateful to be with family, my sister, Melissa's brother, our daughter, the fourth generation of the Ohio Wesleyan Jones family, little Wyatt Halsey, age 6. Dear friends, I look around the room and see so many people who have been so important to us, and I'm so deeply honored. When I arrived at Ohio Wesleyan 15 years ago, I suggested to the community that we are stewards for a season of a treasure. And I want to acknowledge the stewardship of my friend of more than 45 years, Ellis Arnold, in one of the most difficult seasons in the history of American higher education, for the treasure we all value, Hendrix College. Ellis, please stand so we can acknowledge you. I'm so honored to be with those who've been recognized today. I've known Jim Wiltgen's work for years. We've never formally met, but congratulations, Jim. I met Anna Patterson when she was a junior in high school at the home of Phil and Jean Pyatt in Searcy, Arkansas, at a Hendrix College admission reception. Saw her again a year later. She said she was hesitant about him. I don't know how many times you visited, but it was a bunch. And then I got to watch her as a student, and Anna, we're so proud of all that you have accomplished. And Brad and I just met this morning, but we have a history. Stephanie Murphy's father-in-law is an alumnus of Ohio Wesleyan and on the executive committee of the Board of Trustees. I recruited him to that board, and he, for years, has been telling me about this amazing chief of staff on Stephanie's team. I sent him a note last night and I said, Ed, now I know why. The guy's from Hendrix College. So I'm thrilled to meet Brad and through Ed had such an appreciation for Stephanie and now for your role with her. And I hope neither one of you is finished because you did really, really important work. I was the ultimate beneficiary of the experience of the small residential liberal arts college with an education devoted unto the whole person. That was me. It started in the classroom. In my first term, I took critical approaches to literature with Dr. Chappell. He probably doesn't remember me in that class, but I was there. I took biology with Dr. Haggard. I didn't dare take chemistry with Dr. Goodwin. But the person I want to single out is Dr. McCainch, my advisor. Such an extraordinary influence on my journey. I took contemporary Europe and then enrolled in my first upper level course, Medieval Europe. And I submitted my first paper, and Dr. McCainch returned it, and on the first cover page, he had circled the fact that I had misspelled medieval. Now, that was not a good start. But he stayed with me. And in my senior year, he was my advisor for an independent study looking at the theological debates between Ulrich Zwingli, the Swiss Reformation theologian, and Martin Luther. It was a sacramental theology debate. I gave Dr. McCainch my first draft. He looked at it and he said, I think you've got the theology right, but you might want to pay a little more attention to the political context and to the political influence on the theological debate. Imagine that, politics and religion. Does that ever happen? You know what? That's why we study history. And that's why a liberal arts education makes a difference. Now, I got to do other things. Ellis and I served on Student Senate together with about half of your current Board of Trustees. Joanne Biggs was there with us, your current chair. I got to be an RA for 3 years. Denny Compton is here. Denny and I started together. She was smarter than the rest of us. She finished a year early. And where'd you go, Denny? Was hall director in Couch Hall my senior year, thank you, where I was RA for 3 years. Got to be the chaplain intern, got to do other things, and sang in the choir with Ellen Austin. 4 years in the choir, 2 years as president, and with the choir for the first time was able to travel to Europe. But it was the summer after my first year at Hendrix that, with 8 other people, I traveled to the Navajo region of the Four Corners of New Mexico. Susan Cox was a part of that trip. Roger Beale organized and led the trip. And it was on that trip that I met Melissa. And here we are, 46 years, 3 children and 3 grandchildren later, and we're moving back home to the village at Hendrix. I am who I am because of my family and because of Hendrix College. And for 28 years, I've had the privilege to be on 2 campuses, Hendrix and Ohio Wesleyan. And I've had a lot of jobs. When I was at Hendrix, I couldn't keep a job. I just kept moving around. But with all of those jobs and all of the job descriptions and all of the duties, there's one thing that hovers above all of it as I reflect on those 28 years. For 28 years, I have had the privilege of being a storytelling evangelist for the liberal arts. A storytelling evangelist for the liberal arts. Now here's a story. A month ago, Melissa and I were in Washington, D.C. for an Ohio Wesleyan alumni event. There were a lot of people there. An attorney named Marcus Meeks, who works in government in D.C., was there with his wife, the Reverend Rachel Cornwell, Hendrix class of 1996. Rachel's a leader in the Baltimore-Washington Conference of the United Methodist Church. And as she and I got to talking, we realized, wow, there's a group. In the fall, I was asked to talk about Gen Z, just because I live with them every day, I guess, with the Board of Ordained Ministry of the West Ohio Conference, where I was introduced by a leader of the West Ohio Conference, the Reverend April Bell Blaine. Like Rachel, April was a student when I arrived as chaplain. And then we thought about Melissa Boyer. I was with Bishop Bickerton a while back. He's now the chair of the Council of Bishops of the United Methodist Church. He's the Bishop of New York. I said, Bishop, what do you know about Melissa Boyer? He said, why do you ask? I said, because she was a student at Hendrix when I arrived. I say Hendrix up there, I'll say Ohio Wesleyan here before I'm finished. Just stay with me. I said, she was a student. And he said, oh, she's a leader in the New York Conference. And then there's our own Ellen Austin, who's somewhere here. Where's this? Ellen, who has been, Ellen Austin, I'm sorry, J.J. Whitney, but Ellen as well. Ellen was kind of ahead of them. She was here with me. But J.J., who also was a student and has been a leader here in Methodism in Arkansas, J.J. So Rachel and I are sitting there, and I'm counting up. These 4 women went to 4 different seminaries. They're leaders in 4 different regions of the country. And now today I can add Rodney Whitfield, who was a student here right with them and is in North Texas Conference as a leader. 5 seminaries, 5 regions of the country, one thing in common. They were here together at Hendrix College where they received the best liberal arts education you can get. And you know, I've gotten to tell that story for 28 years. But it's not just the church, it's education, it's politics, it's science, it's industry, it's business, it's entrepreneurship, it's law, it's medicine. In every sector, when you look at the people who lead, they're the people who can think critically and analytically, who have the curiosity of intellect, who can look at complex problems from more than one disciplinary perspective in search of lasting solutions, who understand the importance of empathy to leadership, who understand that we grow when we work with people who are very different than we are. They're not afraid of diversity. They understand we're better when we're all together, regardless of from where we come or what we have experienced in life. What are they? They're the products of a liberal arts education. And for 28 years, I've been able to tell that story because of what happened to me at Hendrix College. Now, this was supposed to be 3 years ago. It would have been my 40th. It would have been our mother's 70th. Now, many of you knew our mother, so you can imagine how she felt when she learned about this recognition. She's not here now. And I've thought about that coming into today. And then I've realized my parents are here because they're with me every day. But so are all of those other people who on this campus shaped me, as are all of those people who shaped each of you. For me, it was the names like Guthrie and Wartenberg and Christie and Merriweather and Thompson and McGill and Raymond and another Thompson. They're with me every day because I wouldn't be doing what I do without what they gave me on this campus. And then there were those who were students who then became friends and colleagues with names like Beale and Maxwell. They're with me too, every day. And you have your list, don't you? You have your list, those people who shaped you, because we've been shaped here, and we get to tell the story. Thank you.
Well, I would like to congratulate Jim, Anna, Brad, and Rock on behalf of the Alumni Association of Hendrix College. Your remarks today were all very inspirational, and thank you for coming forward with your stories and all that you've experienced here, because you were also part of shaping us. So thank you for sharing those, and thank you for the friends and family who are also here to celebrate. You have officially joined the distinguished and dedicated recipients of past years, and your contributions will be recognized by generations of students to come as examples of the fulfillment of the Hendrix College mission. On your table, you'll find biographies of our award winners. On the back of the sheet is a nomination form. Of course, we would love if you have other ideas and other people who have shaped you, please give those names over and send them over to Pamela or send that over to us, and we greatly appreciate that for future awardees. I do want to take a few moments before we go just to highlight some of the activities that we have planned for the rest of the weekend. I know many of you were here yesterday, and hopefully everyone has gone to the registration booth, but you can get a full list of activities there. Today, we have two last lectures. The first one is at 1 p.m. Dr. Peg Falls-Corbett, who is, I know you're here, right over there. Thank you for speaking. That's going to be in Mills at 1 p.m. And then at 2:15, we have Dr. Jay Barth, who will be also having his last lecture in Mills. So if you have time and are still around, we'd love for you to join us. There will be a reception in the Mills Library shortly following each of those. At 3:30, we get to bid farewell to President Arnold and Dawkins, the Dawkins Welcome Center. So please, if you're still, again, around, we'd love to see you there. And then, of course, at 4 p.m., our senior seminar will be held in Cabe Theater. So Tomorrow at 10:30, oh wait, I forgot about the reunion parties. If you're here and would love to join a reunion party, don't forget about the party. There's a full listing available. You can, of course, ask Pamela or Jamie if you're, and please you don't have to, you can come to one of your neighboring years. So if you have friends from another year, we'd love to just see your face because, we're a small school. All of 2008 can't make it, so I want the 2006s and 7s there too. With that, tomorrow, let's talk a little bit about tomorrow's activities. We have at 10:30, there's going to be a memorial service in Green Chapel where we'll read the names of those alumni whom we have learned in the past year have passed away. The congregation is invited to stand to recognize those individuals. And then, of course, on Sunday, back to the food agenda, the dining hall will immediately follow. So please come join us in the dining hall as part of Alumni Weekend shortly after that service. So, thank you again for being here. Thank you for those who have been awarded. All the work that you're doing is really inspirational. All the friends and family that are here, y'all are doing great work, and great job. And on behalf of the Alumni Association and myself, I feel really privileged to be up here recognizing these 4 individuals. So, and don't forget to finish your meal before you go. Bye.